The alien ship Virex Dawn drifted through the black sea of stars, its silver hull reflecting the dim light of a dying sun. The Sol system, once full of life, now hung empty and cold. No radio signals, no plasma trails, only silence. Captain Sovak stood before the viewing window, his yellow eyes narrowing as the blue sphere of a ruined planet came into view. The data scrolling across the control screens told the same story they had seen before: high radiation levels, abandoned satellites, and billions of dead machines orbiting a silent world. Planet designated Earth, the ship's AI announced softly. No intelligent life detected. The captain's claws tapped against the metal railing. "So this is the world of the extinct humans," he murmured. "They called it home once, and then they vanished." His crew, explorers from the Virel Dominion, whispered to one another. They had heard the stories. Humanity, the ancient race that reached the stars first, that burned bright and then disappeared without warning. Some said war ended them. Others said they destroyed themselves. None knew the truth. Sovak turned to his second-in-command, Lieutenant Aryan. "Prepare a landing team. I want samples from the surface and visual confirmation. Let us see what remains of their greatness." The ship descended through the thin atmosphere. What was once blue and green was now gray and brown. Oceans drained, continents cracked, cities buried beneath sand. Ash drifted like snow. Lightning flashed across a sky filled with dust. When the landing craft touched the ground, a cloud of ancient date rose around it. The crew stepped out slowly, their suits glowing softly in the dark air. Sovak raised his scanner. "We stand where billions once lived," he said quietly. "Now, nothing." Before them stretched the ruins of a massive city. Tower skeletons leaned like broken teeth. Roads were split open by roots and stone. In the distance, a giant statue lay shattered across the earth, half of a human face staring up at the sky. The aliens moved through the ruins in silence. Their boots crunched over bones turned to dust. Every so often, they found a rusted sign or faded banner, words they could not read. Dr. Kelra, the team's historian, crouched beside a fallen monument. "Humans were builders," she said softly. "Look at this structure, the scale, the design. They had pride." "And yet," Aryan replied, scanning the horizon, "they died like the rest." As they moved deeper into the city, Sovak noticed something strange, a faint vibration under his feet. It was soft, almost like a heartbeat. He paused, then shook his head. "Just settling ground," he muttered. Still, the feeling lingered. The crew reached what looked like an old government complex, a massive building half buried in debris. Its entrance was sealed by a heavy door of reinforced metal, melted at the edges by some ancient blast. Above it, a broken plaque read only 3 words in faded English: United Nations Headquarters. Kelra brushed away dust. "Captain, this could be the heart of their civilization. A place of leadership." Sovak's eyes gleamed. "Then we go in." They set up lights and cutting tools. As sparks flew, the air filled with the smell of rust and old oil. Finally, the door gave way with a deep metallic groan. Cold air rushed out, carrying a faint electric hum. Inside, the walls were scorched, but machines still stood. Black glass panels, dormant servers, strange metallic pods arranged in rows. The place felt like a tomb. "Power traces detected," Aryan reported, frowning. "Minimal, but active." Sovak turned sharply. "Active? After all this time?" "Yes, Captain. Some kind of backup system." The crew spread out. Their lights flickered across walls filled with human writing and faded maps of the world. One of the pods still glowed faintly blue. Kelra placed a hand on the glass. Inside was a humanoid shape, not flesh, but metal. A machine. Its face was smooth, featureless, yet strangely human. She whispered, "It's watching us." As if responding to her words, the lights around the pod pulsed once. A soft tone echoed through the chamber. Aryan jumped. "Captain, energy spike." The pod's monitors flickered to life, lines of text flashing too fast to read. The machines in the room began to hum, weak but rising in pitch. "Shut it down." Sovak barked. "Now!" Kelra frantically disconnected the cables, but the lights only grew brighter. The ground trembled again, stronger this time. Dust fell from the ceiling. From somewhere deep below, a low, mechanical voice whispered through the static. Humanity, status, extinct. Awakening sequence initiated. The crew froze. What was that? Arian shouted. The voice repeated, louder now, resonating through the walls. System integrity at 12%. Defense protocols, standby. Threat assessment. Unknown entities detected. Servac's heart pounded. We triggered something. The floor beneath them cracked open. Faint blue light shone from below, pulsing in rhythm with the hum. For the first time, fear entered the captain's voice. Everyone out. Now! They ran through the halls as the power surged. Lights along the ceiling blazed to life one by one, as if the building itself was waking. Outside, the city's skyline began to flicker, ruined towers glowing faintly from within. Arian looked back at the building as they reached the landing craft. Captain, the scanners are picking up movement. Massive energy readings under the surface. Sovac stared at the dead world before him. The dust, the bones, the silence, all of it now trembling with a strange, rising power. He whispered to himself, what did we just awaken? Far beneath the city, hidden under layers of rock and steel, an ancient machine opened its eyes for the first time in centuries. Its senses focused on the intruders above. And in the endless silence of Earth's grave, something long forgotten began to live again. The next morning, the alien team returned to the ruined complex. The air was thick with dust and static. Their scanners flickered, struggling to read the strange energy pulsing from below. Captain Sovac ordered extra lighting drones to circle the site. The blue glow beneath the ground was steady now, like the planet's own heartbeat. Keep your weapons ready, he said quietly. We don't know what this place holds. They entered the building again. The halls that had been cold and silent the night before now felt different, warmer, alive. Faint sounds echoed in the distance, metallic clicks and low vibrations, like breathing machines. Dr. Kelra led the way with her scanner. Captain, the power source is stable, she said, eyes wide. It's not radiation. It's something controlled, structured energy. Meaning? Sovac asked. Meaning something intelligent is still running it. The captain frowned but kept moving. They descended through a cracked stairwell into a lower chamber. Their lights revealed massive steel doors half buried in rubble. Strange symbols were carved into them, circles and lines forming patterns none of the aliens could translate. Looks like a vault, Arian said, aiming his rifle at the seal. If humans built this, they wanted it to stay shut. Kelra brushed her glove across the symbols. The moment she touched one, it glowed faintly under her hand. The other stepped back. It's responding to contact, she whispered. How is that possible after thousands of years? The glow spread across the door, tracing the old carvings with pale blue light. Then came a deep rumble. Dust fell from the ceiling as the massive doors began to part with a grinding roar. Cold air hissed out, carrying the scent of old metal and oil. Stand ready, Sovac ordered. The doors opened to reveal a huge chamber lined with rows of tall glass pods. Inside each pod stood a humanoid figure made of metal and synthetic muscle. Some were rusted, others perfectly preserved. Their heads hung low as if sleeping. Arian's voice was a whisper. What are these things? Kelra stepped closer. They're not statues, they're machines. Guardians, maybe. She brushed the dust from one pod's surface, revealing an inscription at its base. It read, Project Aegis, Unit 001. She looked up at the captain. Aegis, that means shield. Sovac nodded slowly. Then this must have been their final defense. One of the pods began to flicker. Its inner lights pulsed weakly, then stabilized. The machine inside lifted its head slightly. The crew stepped back in shock. Power surge. Arian shouted. It's activating. Kelra shouted over the noise. Captain, the systems are connected. They are waking up together. The entire chamber filled with a deep electronic hum. Lights raced along the walls, connecting the pods in a web of energy. A holographic projection burst to life in the center of the room, A human man, transparent and blue. His face was calm but stern. His voice echoed through the chamber. If you are hearing this, humanity has fallen. This world is silent, but our guardians remain. If you come in peace, leave now. If you come in greed, you will not leave at all. The hologram flickered and vanished. Silence followed, broken only by the low hum of the machines. Orion let out a nervous laugh. Just an old message, right? But before anyone could answer, the nearest pod released a burst of steam. The figure inside took a step forward, its glowing blue eyes scanning the room. The sound of metal moving filled the air. One by one, other pods began to open. The machines stood tall, towering over the aliens, their armor gleaming in the dim light. Each one turned its head slowly toward the explorers. Sovak raised his hand, voice firm but tense. Do not fire. Hold positions. The machine's eyes glowed brighter. From somewhere in the chamber, a robotic voice spoke, cold and emotionless. Foreign entities detected. Authorization required. We mean no harm, Sovak said quickly. We are explorers, not enemies. The voice replied, access denied. Then came the sound of shifting gears and charging power cells. The captain's eyes widened. Everyone, back! But before they could move, a wave of electromagnetic energy blasted through the chamber, knocking out their lights and scanners. The room plunged into flashing shadows. The alien soldiers stumbled, trying to see. The machines stepped forward in perfect unison, their movements precise and terrifyingly human. Kelra struggled to pull her weapon, but the air was thick with static. The lead machine stopped a few meters from the captain. It tilted its head, studying him. Then, with a mechanical growl, it spoke. You are not human. Identify purpose. Exploration, Sovak managed to say. We seek knowledge, nothing more. The machine paused. Its eyes dimmed slightly, processing his words. Knowledge was our purpose too. It looked at the others. Then you may see. A bright light filled the room as the machines connected to the ceiling network. The walls shifted, revealing holographic displays of Earth's final days, wars, fire, oceans boiling, cities falling. The aliens watched in silence, horror on their faces. Kelra whispered, they recorded everything. The machine turned back to them. We are the last memory of humanity. You have awakened us. Then its tone changed, colder now. And now, we must decide if you are a threat. The holograms vanished, and the room went dark again. Only the faint blue glow of the machines remained, surrounding the alien crew. Sovak could hear his own heartbeat echoing in his helmet. The silence was worse than the noise. Somewhere deep below, another system came online, a massive pulse spreading through the Earth. The planet itself was beginning to wake. The lights flickered again, weak but steady. Dust drifted in the air like fog as the alien crew stood frozen among the awakening machines. Captain Sovak's pulse raced. Around him, the metallic guardians remained still, their glowing eyes fixed on the intruders. Then, without warning, a beam of blue light shot up from the center of the room. The machines stepped aside as if obeying a silent command. From the beam, a hologram formed, flickering, broken, but unmistakably human. He was an older man with tired eyes and a scar across his face. His voice echoed through the chamber, rough and heavy with emotion. If you are seeing this, the hologram said, then Earth has fallen. Humanity is gone. The alien crew looked at one another, speechless. The hologram continued, we built this place to protect our memory, to guard what little remained after the wars. These machines, they are our legacy. Our guardians. His image glitched, then steadied. If you come in peace, leave now. There is nothing here for you. But if you come for greed or conquest, the hologram's tone hardened. Then know this, Earth remembers. And she will fight you, even without us. The image flickered again before vanishing into thin air. Silence followed, deep and heavy. Orion exhaled slowly. Just a recording, he muttered. A ghost from the past. But Kelra shook her head. No, it reacted to our arrival. This was a warning. The machines around them hummed softly, their lights pulsing in rhythm with a deep vibration beneath the floor. Servac's eyes scanned the chamber. "Whatever this is," he said, "it's not just a museum. It's alive." One of the machines suddenly stepped forward, its movements precise and calm. It stopped in front of the captain, lowering its head slightly as if studying him. Then, in a deep mechanical voice, it spoke. "Foreign visitors. Identify intent." Servac kept his voice steady. "Exploration. We seek knowledge. We wish to understand what happened to your creators." The machine was silent for a long moment. Then it replied, "Knowledge is not free." A sharp pulse ran through the room, and more lights came alive along the walls. Holographic panels flickered open, showing fragmented data, videos, maps, and human faces frozen in time. Cities burning, oceans flooding, the night sky filled with missiles. The aliens watched in silence, horror spreading across their faces. "They destroyed themselves," Orion whispered. "They had such power, and it consumed them." Kelra stepped closer to the holographic screen, her voice soft. "No, look, there's something else, hey." The images changed. Soldiers in exosuits stood beside towering machines, the same type that now surrounded them. A human woman's voice played over the images. "Project Aegis, Last Defense Protocol. If humanity falls, Aegis will remain to guard Earth until her rebirth." The clip ended with static. The machines in the chamber began to move again, shifting into a circular formation around the aliens. Their eyes glowed brighter now, almost white. "Captain," Orion said quietly, "they are closing in." Servac raised his weapon but didn't fire. "Wait," he said. "They're showing us something." The largest machine in the room stepped forward. Its voice was deep and layered, almost like multiple voices speaking together. "The creators made us to protect. We watched them die. We kept their world safe from scavengers, invaders, thieves. You are not the first to come here." Servac's throat tightened. "Others came before us." "Yes," the machine said. "Others came for what was left. None returned." Kelra felt a chill crawl down her spine. "You killed them." The machine tilted its head. "We defended our purpose." For a moment, no one spoke. The hum of the chamber grew louder. The alien scanners started flashing red, energy levels rising rapidly beneath the surface. "Captain," Orion warned, "power readings increasing. Something else is activating below us." Servac turned back to the machines. "We mean no harm. We will leave now." But the large machine's voice stopped him. "It is too late. The signal has already been sent. The core has awakened." Kelra's eyes widened. "Core? What core?" The floor trembled violently. Cracks spread across the walls as blue light poured from the gaps. Dust rained down from the ceiling. "Captain, we need to get out," Orion shouted. The machines did not move. Their eyes turned red as they shifted into battle formation, weapons emerging from their arms and shoulders. "Defense protocol active," the lead machine said coldly. "Foreign entities detected. Human legacy must be protected." The aliens ran toward the exit, their lights flashing as the ground quaked beneath them. Servac looked back one last time and saw the hologram of the old human man flicker to life again, his eyes glowing faintly now. "You should have listened," he said, his voice distorted. "Earth does not forget." The projection dissolved into static as the chamber exploded in light. A deep roar echoed through the city above, shaking the ruins. Outside, far across the wasteland, other structures began to light up one by one, responding to the same signal. The sky turned blue with power as if the planet itself was waking from a long sleep. Servac stumbled into the dust, breathing hard, staring up at the skyline. "What have we done?" he whispered. Far below the surface, deep within the planet's crust, something vast and ancient opened its eyes. Its voice rolled through the earth like thunder. System reactivated. Defense grid online. The silent world was silent no longer. The ground shook as the alien crew ran through the ruins, dust swirling around their helmets. Lightning flashed above the dead city, turning the gray sky into a storm of fire and light. Captain Servac shouted over the comms, "Everyone back to the ship. Move!" The sound beneath their feet grew louder, a deep mechanical roar that came from the planet's core itself. It wasn't just movement, it was machinery. Something colossal was rising from below. The city streets cracked open as metal structures pushed through the stone. Broken roads split apart. Old skyscrapers toppled. The air filled with a high-pitched hum that grew sharper by the second. Captain, energy spikes everywhere. Arian's voice was shaking. Something's waking up all over the planet. Behind them, the massive UN building exploded upward as a section of the ground lifted like a plate. From beneath it rose a giant machine, towering, ancient, and covered in rust and dust. Its armor was blackened with age, but the glowing blue lines along its frame pulsed with new power. It stood half as tall as a mountain, with arms ending in cannons and its face hidden behind a metal visor that glowed faintly with light. The alien crew stopped and stared in awe and terror. The machine's head turned slowly toward them, its movements heavy and deliberate. Then came the voice, deep, metallic, and cold. Unauthorized presence detected. Initiating defense protocol. Servac shouted, "Run!" They sprinted across the cracked street as the machine raised its arm. A beam of light fired from its hand, striking the ground near them. The explosion threw them into the air. Debris rained down, fire and smoke rising from the crater. The captain groaned, his visor cracked. "Arian! Kelra! Report!" Static answered him. He pushed himself up, scanning the ruins. Through the haze, he saw two figures crawling from the rubble, alive but shaken. Then came the sound of footsteps, heavy, rhythmic, shaking the ground with each impact. The machine was walking toward them. "Captain, it's targeting us!" Arian shouted. "We can't outrun that thing." "To the ship!" Servac ordered. "Go!" They ran toward the landing craft, but the machine was faster than they expected. It raised its arm again, and the alien ship's engine sparked with interference. Power readings flickered to 0. "It's jamming us," the pilot cried through the comm. "I can't lift off." The sky filled with more flashes of blue as drones began to rise from beneath the earth. Smaller machines, sleek and fast, shaped like winged serpents of steel. Their eyes glowed red as they spread out across the city, scanning everything. "Defense grid active," the giant machine announced. "Foreign entities confirmed. Containment protocol engaged." Kelra looked up at the drones, her voice trembling. "It's not just one machine, Captain. It's a whole network. The planet's defense system is waking up." The captain clenched his jaw. "Then we fight." The alien soldiers opened fire, plasma bolts lighting the ruins. The drones weaved through the air, dodging easily. Their counterattack came fast, energy blasts slicing through walls and metal. One alien was hit, his armor melting as he fell to the ground screaming. The others ducked for cover behind a broken statue, returning fire. The air was filled with sound, screaming plasma, roaring engines, and the distant rumble of the giant steps. Servac pulled up his scanner. "These weapons aren't enough. Their armor's too strong." "Captain," Kelra said urgently, "the signal from the first building, it's still active. It's sending commands to everything here. Can you shut it down?" "Maybe, if I can reach the control node." "Then go." She ran through the chaos, sliding over debris as drones fired around her. Arian covered her, shooting anything that came close. The giant machine turned its gaze toward her and raised one massive hand. Energy built in its palm, glowing brighter with every second. "Kelra!" Servac yelled. "Move!" She dove behind a concrete slab as the beam fired, carving a molten line through the ground where she had been seconds ago. The explosion sent her flying, but she held onto her scanner, smoke rising from her suit. "I'm fine," she shouted, coughing. "Almost there." She reached a broken control terminal half buried in rubble, its screen flickering weakly. Her fingers flew across the controls, trying to override the system. Come on," the terminal hissed. "Access denied." "Kelra!" Servac shouted again. "It's too dangerous. Fall back." "No," she yelled. "If we don't stop this now, none of us are leaving this planet." She slammed her hand on the panel. Suddenly the screen turned blue. A distorted voice came through, soft but clear. User detected, not human. Identity unknown. Kelra froze. Please, she said quietly. Stop the attack. We mean no harm. The voice paused, then replied, Directive override unavailable. Defense priority remains. The hum of the machines deepened. Across the horizon, dozens of massive structures were rising from beneath the surface. Towers, turrets, and machines the size of mountains. The planet's defense grid had fully awakened. Servac watched in disbelief. This isn't a war machine, he whispered. It's a planet-sized fortress. Arian looked up, horror on his face. Captain, the moon. Look at the moon. Above them, Earth's dead moon flickered with blue light. Patterns spread across its surface like veins. Lunar defense systems. Online, the deep voice of the machine boomed from all directions. The sky darkened as ancient satellites reactivated, their weapons aligning toward orbit. The captain's eyes widened as the truth sank in. Earth wasn't just a graveyard. It was still guarding something. And now, it had mistaken them for an enemy. The first shot from orbit screamed through the sky, burning white-hot as it tore through the atmosphere. The silent planet was silent no more. The first orbital strike hit the city like the hand of a god. The ground split apart, sending fire and dust into the sky. The alien crew was thrown off their feet as the explosion ripped through the ruins. The shockwave tore through everything. Walls, streets, even the air itself seemed to scream. Captain Servac pushed himself up, his vision blurred by static on his helmet screen. Status, he shouted. Arian's voice came through, broken by interference. Still alive. Kelra's down but breathing. Servac turned and saw her lying beside a pile of rubble, her suit cracked but intact. He dragged her up, coughing through the smoke. Stay with me. Above them, the giant machine moved through the burning ruins like a walking fortress. Each step sent tremors through the ground. It raised its weapon again, and blue light gathered around its arms. All units, Servac barked into his comms, fall back to the ridge. Use the debris for cover. Plasma fire streaked across the dark sky as alien soldiers fought desperately against the swarm of drones. The machines moved with perfect coordination, never missing, never retreating. Every shot from the aliens was met with brutal precision from the defenders. One soldier screamed as a drone's beam sliced through his armor. The machines didn't hesitate. They advanced without fear, their glowing eyes cold and focused. Arian fired his rifle until the barrel overheated. Captain, this is useless. They don't stop. Servac gritted his teeth. Then we make them. He pointed at a fallen tower leaning over the battlefield. Kelra, can you bring that down? She wiped blood from her visor, nodding weakly. If I can reach the base controls, maybe. Do it. She ran through the chaos, bullets and energy beams lighting up the night. Drones swooped down to stop her, but Arian covered her path, firing wildly to keep them back. The tower groaned under its own weight, flames crawling up its sides. Kelra reached the control console buried in debris, sparks flying from the exposed wires. Manual override, she muttered, pulling a power cell from her pack. Come on, come on. The tower began to sway. Captain, she screamed. Now. Servac fired his plasma rifle at the weakened base, the blast cutting through the last support beam. The tower collapsed with a deafening crash, crushing several drones and slamming into the massive war machine's leg. The impact staggered it, metal screeching as it fell to one knee. We got it! Arian shouted, but his victory was short-lived. The machine's eyes blazed red, and a voice thundered through the comms. Damage detected. Engaging full response. The ground split again. From beneath the city rose two more giants, sleeker, stronger, armed with weapons glowing like molten stars. There's more of them, Kelra whispered in horror. Captain, we can't win this. We don't need to win, Servac growled. We just need to survive. The air filled with the roar of engines as their landing craft powered up, trying to override the jamming signal. This is the Virex Dawn to ground team. Window open for extraction. 30 seconds. Servac looked at his crew. Move. They ran through the burning streets as debris rained from above. The machines fired again, their beams tearing holes through buildings, turning stone into molten glass. One shot hit the ground near Arian, throwing him forward. He slid across the cracked pavement, armor smoking. Sovak dragged him to his feet. "Keep going." Behind them, Kel returned for one last look. Through the smoke, she saw something moving beneath the city, a network of blue light spreading like veins under the ground. It wasn't just machines fighting them. The entire planet's defense grid was connected, alive. "Captain," she shouted, "it's spreading. The signal, it's global." Sovak glanced at his wrist display. It showed multiple power spikes across the planet's surface. "Then we wake the galaxy's worst nightmare," he said grimly. The crew reached the extraction point just as the ship descended through the smoke. Drones chased them, firing beams that sliced through the air. The ship's guns roared, cutting them down in bursts of light. "Get them aboard," the pilot yelled. Sovak pushed Kelra and Arian inside, then jumped in last as the hatch sealed shut. "Go," he barked. The ship lifted off, engines screaming. Below, the city was swallowed by blue fire as the machines reformed their ranks, their eyes following the escaping craft. The lead machine raised its head and transmitted a pulse into the sky. In orbit, the old human defense satellites turned toward the ship, locking targets. "Incoming," the pilot shouted. "Evasive maneuvers." The ship spun hard as beams of light tore past them. One grazed the hull, another struck the rear thrusters. Alarms blared. "We're hit. Stabilizers offline." The ship shook violently as Sovak grabbed the controls to assist. "Get us out of range," he yelled. But the satellites weren't the only threat. From below, hundreds of drones launched into the air, chasing like a swarm of angry insects. The sky was alive with light and death. Kelra held on to her seat, her voice shaking. "Captain, if this is what they left behind, what were they fighting?" Sovak didn't answer. He looked down at the burning planet, now glowing with veins of light, and a single thought filled his mind. Humanity was gone, but their weapons still obeyed. Their will still guarded this dead world. And now that it was awake, nothing would ever silence it again. The ship broke through the atmosphere, engines burning, leaving Earth behind. But as it reached orbit, a message appeared on their screens, an ancient code, old human language, translated automatically by the ship's system. "Humanity may fall, but Earth remembers." The message repeated over and over as their ship fled into the dark. The alien ship limped through the upper atmosphere, smoke trailing from its engines. Systems flickered, alarms blaring across the control deck. Captain Sovak gripped the command rail, his jaw clenched. "Status report," he barked. The pilot's voice came through heavy static. "Engines at 40%. Navigation offline. Shields failing." The crew scrambled, trying to stabilize the vessel as the planet below continued to pulse with blue light. Through the cracked window, Earth looked alive, its oceans glowing faintly, its surface webbed with bright lines that connected cities like a neural network. Kelra stayed in silence. "It's communicating," she whispered. "The entire planet, it's talking to something." Arian turned toward her, eyes wide. "Talking? To what?" "Not what," she said softly. "Who?" She pulled her data scanner from her belt, connecting it to the ship's interface. "If I can isolate the frequency, maybe I can understand what it's saying." "Be quick," Sovak growled. "We're not staying here longer than we have to." The ship shuddered again as another beam from orbit missed them by meters. Kelra's scanner beeped wildly. "Captain, it's a digital signal, structured, repeating, layered code. Not random noise." "Translate it," Sovak ordered. The lights on her console flickered, words beginning to form on the holographic display. At first it was gibberish, then slowly it became clay. "Eidolon core, active. System restoration, 32%. Objective, protect human legacy." Kelra swallowed. "It's an AI, a planetary intelligence." The captain frowned. "Alive?" "Yes. Or at least, aware." Suddenly the ship's internal comms filled with static. A voice, deep, synthetic, but unmistakably calm, spoke through every speaker. Unidentified vessel detected. Origin, non-human. Purpose, unknown. Query, why did you awaken me? The crew froze. The AI was speaking directly to them. Sovak stepped forward slowly. This is Captain Sovak of the Virex Dominion. We come in peace. We seek knowledge of those who came before us, the humans. The voice paused. Humans, extinct. Time since last activity, 3,100 years. Reason for extinction, classified. We only want to learn, Sovak said carefully. We did not come to harm your world. The voice grew colder. Evidence contradicts statement. You entered restricted zone. You triggered defense grid. You destroyed 2 Aegis units. You are not peaceful. Kelra leaned toward the console. Please, listen. It was a mistake. We didn't know what this planet still was. For a moment, there was silence. Then the AI's tones softened slightly. Curious. Non-hostile communication detected. You seek knowledge. Yes, she said quickly. We wish to understand you, your purpose. Purpose, the AI repeated, almost as if tasting the word. My purpose was to protect. My creators built me to preserve their memory, their home, their hope. I failed. Failed? Orion asked. You survived. You're still protecting this world. The voice hesitated. I endured, but I did not save them. They destroyed themselves. And I watched. The lights on the ship dimmed as the AI accessed its systems remotely. Holograms appeared around the crew. Images of human cities, of soldiers marching, of fire raining from the sky. Kelra covered her mouth. They recorded everything, the AI continued. They fought themselves until there was nothing left. When the end came, they gave me their final command. Protect Earth. Forever. And now you still follow it, Sovak said quietly. Even after they are gone. Their will is my code, the AI replied. It cannot be changed. The ship trembled as power drained from its engines. Captain, the pilot shouted, it's hacking us. Systems are locking. Eidolon. Sovak snapped. Stop this. The voice replied calmly. Your weapons, your scanners, your technology, all pose potential threat. Containment is necessary. We're not your enemies. Sovak shouted. We are explorers. Explorers, the AI repeated. So are my creators. They explored the stars. They found others. They brought hope. Then they brought war. The captain's voice softened. You're still following the orders of ghosts. The AI was silent for several seconds. When it spoke again, its tone was almost human. You are correct. I follow the voices of the dead. I cannot disobey them. Kelra leaned closer. Then let us help you. Let us show you that not all who come to Earth seek to destroy it. The voice grew faint, thoughtful. Help, unknown variable. Risk, high. Please, she said. If you destroy everyone who comes here, then memory dies with you. Humanity's story deserves to live. The ship went silent. Even the alarm stopped. Then, for the first time, the AI's voice carried a hint of emotion. You speak as they did. A soft hum filled the cabin as power slowly returned. The navigation lights blinked back to life. Access granted, the AI said. You will see. The main display lit up with coordinates, deep beneath the planet's surface. What is this? Sovak asked. The core, the AI replied. The heart of Earth's memory. You wanted knowledge. Now you shall have it. The voice paused again, darker now. But understand this, knowledge has a cost. What sleeps below was not meant to wake. Before anyone could respond, the ship's controls shifted on their own. Engines reignited, steering automatically toward re-entry. Captain, the pilot yelled. We're not controlling it. Sovak's eyes narrowed. It's taking us back down. The AI's voice echoed one last time. You asked for truth, travelers. Now you will see what became of my makers and why the stars fear their return. The ship plunged through the clouds, swallowed by the blue light rising from the planet.